6,885. That's correct, 6,885. That's the number of unintentional shooting deaths that occurred in the United States between 2006 and 2016. Most, if not all, of these deaths could have been avoided with the use and practice of basic firearm safety. Now, many people in the class have held, seen, touched, or even shot a firearm. But it's important to remember to whether you're a novice firearm user or a marksman to familiarize yourself with basic firearm safety. Now, I grew up as a hunter. My dad taught me from an early age the importance of firearm safety. That knowledge continued with me to the United States Army all the way today in my law enforcement career. I practice and use firearm safety every day. I'm also a certified shoot house instructor in firearm safety. So today what I want to discuss is 6 basic rules for firearm safety. Now, there's no better time to discuss these rules than the fall. With the hunt season fast approaching in Louisiana, many firearm enthusiasts, hunters, or outdoorsmen enjoy this type of weather this time of year, and they want to be out in the woods. This is a good time to familiarize ourselves or to refresh our brains on firearm safety. The first rule I want to talk about is always treat a gun as if it were loaded. We never want to assume that a gun is unloaded. We always assume the gun is loaded until we personally check for ourselves, visually and manually, that the gun is unloaded. To do that, I would just check the chamber, and I'm going to visually and manually inspect to make sure the gun is unloaded. If you're unfamiliar how to do that, or you're not sure how to check to see if the gun is unloaded, that's okay. Just step back from the weapon and go find someone who's familiar with that weapon. The next rule I want to talk about is always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. Now, a safe direction is any direction that if an accidental discharge were to occur, nothing is going to be injured or damaged. Me personally, I like to keep the gun pointed at the ground. I only want to point this gun in the direction of what I'm willing to shoot. So I'm never going to get in the habit of pointing this gun at anybody or anything other than my intended target. The third rule we're going to discuss is always keep your finger off the trigger until you're willing to shoot. We don't want to get in the habit of walking around in the woods or out at the range with our finger resting on the trigger when we're not ready to shoot. It's very easily you could get startled or accidentally shoot this gun, not intending to shoot the gun, and that's how someone could get hurt. The fourth rule is we want to be aware of our target, the surrounding, and what's beyond our target. It's important to keep in mind that when we're shooting at something, there's a chance that we may miss, and there's a chance that the bullet might penetrate through the target. We need to be cognizant of what's beyond that target, such as people, places, objects, because we don't want to cause any unintended injury or damage. It's also important when keeping in mind our target that we don't shoot at sudden movements, lights, or unidentified shapes. So before we shoot, we want to make sure we've identified our target and what's beyond that target. The next rule is we want to familiarize ourselves with our weapon. When I mean familiarize ourselves with our weapon, what I'm talking about is I want to be familiar with how to unload and load this weapon. I want to know what type of ammunition the weapon takes, and I want to know how to manipulate the safety if the weapon's equipped with the safety feature. I also want to be familiar with how to clear malfunctions on the weapon. If I'm uncertain how to handle the weapon, or I don't know how to do one of these procedures on the weapon, I need to get someone that's trained and understands how the weapon operates before I handle the weapon. The last rule I'm going to discuss is storing the firearm. It's important that we keep the weapon stored in a safe and secure location. We always want to store the weapon unloaded, and we want to keep the ammunition separate from where the weapon's being kept. This prevents unauthorized users from having access to the weapon. Now, I don't know if y'all plan on going hunting this season, or if you're going to go out to the range, or you don't plan on shooting at all. What I do know is when people who handle firearms get complacent, we increase the risk of injury to ourselves and other people around us. So it's important to always remember when handling a firearm basic rules. Today, what I told you was 6 basic rules. The first rule I told you was always treat the gun as if it were loaded. Rule number 2, always point the weapon in a safe direction. Rule number 3, always want to keep my hand off the trigger until I'm willing to shoot, ready to shoot. Rule number 4, I want to know my target, my surrounding, and what's beyond my target. Rule number 5, I want to familiarize myself with the weapon. And rule number 6, I want to keep the weapon in a safe and secure location separate from the ammo. Now, no matter what your level of experience is, whether you're a novice or you're an expert marksman or you've never handled a gun at all, it is important to keep these rules in mind and to take the basic safety precautions when operating or handling a firearm. One thing's for sure, you can never be too safe when handling a firearm. Thank you.